President Kennedy proposed a tax cut. It was a modest tax cut when we had a mild recession after running balanced budgets for years. This crowd doubled the debt of America. I left you with a $5.8 trillion surplus of debt. Once you get above middle class people and need to raise their kids, you're going to give somebody a tax cut targeted so you get the jobs that you bargained for. Otherwise, let's don't repeat the mistakes of the last 8 years. His position is, give Bill Clinton one more tax cut and borrow the money from China to pay it and let my children pay it back. I think that is a very bad idea. And I know it will not produce jobs. So you just have to decide whether you want to bring Massachusetts back or not. We had manufacturing jobs in 6 of the 8 years growth. I was president. We've lost manufacturing jobs in every year. By every single indicator, investing in new opportunities creates jobs for America, and across-the-board tax cuts that give cuts to people who don't need it by borrowing money from countries that are poorer than we are while they invest the interest we have to pay them in new technology. China is going to spend more money in the next 5 years on solar and wind energy than they're going to spend on defense. On defense. They think they are going to leave us in the dustbin of history. Martin's position is America can be tomorrow's country like we always have been if we get ahead of the curve in the way we produce and consume energy. His position is it's okay to be yesterday's country as long as you say bad things about the government and cut taxes, even if you run huge deficits. Clear choice. I don't think it's much of a choice. I know her position will produce jobs and his won't. You have to decide what you want for the people of Massachusetts. Everybody's scared to death about this healthcare thing. Now, here's the deal. Healthcare is personal so you can scare people about it. And it's complicated so you can confuse people about it. Machiavelli said in the 15th century, there is nothing so difficult in all of human affairs than to change the established order of things. I will now speak to the vernacular. Because he said, the people that are going to lose know what they're losing. The people that are going to gain are uncertain that they're gaining. You just scare the living daylights out of everybody and preserve the status quo. Now, here's all I want to say about it. I heard all that debate. And, you know, he said, send me up there to be the 41st senator. I'll shut this thing down and we'll begin again. That's not their program. Their program is to do nothing and to let the health insurance companies continue to control the health care of America. Now, our position is, give me a program that preserves choice, increases coverage, and controls cost. Now, I have read these bills. Neither one of them are exactly what I write, but I promise you, this is a big, complex system. We're going to have to work on this for years. But if the worst thing we can do is nothing. That's what they did for 8 years, right? Nothing. When I got beat, I did stuff. We just kept doing things. In our 8 years, we increased coverage, and we kept healthcare inflation to regular inflation costs, and we had huge increase in family earnings. In the last 8 years, before the financial collapse, median family income was $2,000 a year lower than it was the day I left office. And one big reason was exploding healthcare costs. We lost a Japanese auto company that wanted to come and make cars in America because they said we had better infrastructure in Canada because they said they couldn't afford America's healthcare costs. We spend, now we're at 17% of our income on healthcare. Nobody else is higher than 11.5%. Switzerland. Canada at 10.5%. All our other rich competitors at 9.5% of their income. Let me put that in common terms. At the beginning of every year, we write a $900 million check to our competitors in the global marketplace. So let's suppose you're just cold-blooded and don't give a rip about the 16% of your fellow citizens that don't have health insurance. Or you don't give a rip that 30% of Americans are without coverage every year at some point. Or you don't give a rip that it's the #1 cause of personal bankruptcy in America. You should care for selfish reasons. This is killing our economy. It's costing us jobs. It's costing us pay raises. It's killing the average American family because we are wasting money. 30% of every dollar goes to paperwork. That's $210 billion more than we would spend every year than if we had the most expensive system in the world besides ours. On pay just that. So I won't go through all the details. I can just tell you, I've read these bills. And all the really horrible things they say they'll do, they won't. There are no death panels. They are not going to throw businesses out of whack. They are going to moderate costs, and I will make you a prediction. If they pass the bill, the savings will be far greater than projected. And so you just have to decide whether you want us to be a tomorrow country or a yesterday country. We are not going to be a tomorrow country writing a $900 billion check to the rest of the world at the beginning of every year for second-class health care that doesn't cover everybody and can throw anybody in the street in the blink of an eye. You just got to decide. Or not. Yeah. The Tea Party position is yes, they have appropriated the wrong thing. Go back and look at history. Should we create jobs by investing in the technologies and potential of tomorrow, and that means today changing the way we produce and consume energy, or give Bill Clinton another tax cut that we borrow money from China to pay for? I think Martha's got the right position. Should we have a healthcare system that ensures more people, preserves choice, and controls costs? Or should we continue to let the status quo prevail, which is choking the lifeblood out of this economy? I think she's got the right position. There's one last issue. In the debate, her opponent said that we should send him to Washington as the 41st senator so he could vote no and shut the country down and be faithful to the Constitution. You remember when he said that? I watched that. Now let me tell you something, folks. There is nothing in the Constitution about the filibuster. This is a country that guarantees minority rights but has majority rule. The filibuster was developed to guarantee that the Senate would make more time to debate. They have debated this thing to death. They could have finished 2 or 3 months ago and gotten onto the job subject before. The president, bless his soul, has bent over backwards to get Republicans to support any reasonable compromise. The filibuster was never systematically abused to just say no to everything until I became president. This is the creation of the Senate compadres of Newt Gingrich and Tom DeLay. And these new Republicans are doing the same thing. So you just have to decide if you want to pick the person who gets to shut America down. Because this is not about health care. Any bill except the fundamental budget of the country can be filibustered. Any one. I thought Massachusetts was about leading America into the future. When we were born, you led us into the future. I thought Massachusetts knew more about American history than anybody else and understood that the Boston Tea Party was a revolt against abuse of power, not against government itself. I think Massachusetts knows that the framers of the Constitution made it flexible enough to meet every new time so we could always be a tomorrow country. We've got to get a hold of our economy, we've got to get a hold of our energy policy, we've got to get a hold of our healthcare policy, we've got to get a hold of our education policy, and it all begins with accountability. You look at her record as Attorney General, she has done more than any other person in her position in the United States of America to ensure consistent And that's why I came here today, because politics is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I love my country, I love Massachusetts. As soon as I leave here, I'm going back to work on Haiti, but I want to know that when my daughter is my age, and I have grandchildren if I'm still alive, and maybe even great-grandchildren someday, that they'll have a country that will be there to help Haiti, because we always had people in positions of authority who kept America a tomorrow country. Say yes to tomorrow.